Now it records to the cloud. Okay, great, got it. All right, so we're here with Devil Shocker, and we're be talking about the about an upcoming episode with him. So dudes, I'm totally down to shoot something with you. I mean, like, I don't know what your COVID protocols are like personally. Like, I am not vaccinated yet, and like, but I don't see anybody. For the most part, I live. Most of my work is done remotely, and then we come together when we need to shoot. So that being said, like, it's a super safe household. Like, you let me know what your protocols are, but like, what's going on with you? Are you like active outside? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm not super active. I'm gonna be getting the vaccine soon,
Okay.
but certain that like I don't really be going anywhere doing that.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, I mean, like, I would, well, let's figure out what the idea is, and we'll figure out what makes sense, whether it needs to be in person. I would love to shoot something in person with you. We love your swagger. Like you got a lot of swagger. You got a great like attitude, and we just really appreciate having you a part of the community. But what are you thinking, man? Like, because this Saturday we have a hero meetup, and one of the things that we're going to be implementing is a content team. And the content team, the whole point is for we have all these like experimental like processes that need to be tested to essentially help people build a cinematic universe together. And it's been years in development, and now it's like, okay, cool, like we got we have a bunch of great characters that have populated this universe. Now let's actually start making stuff together that actually ties us together in a serious, like, weighted way. So like, when the second you said you were down to shoot something, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, does this align with what we're gonna do on Saturday? I'm sure it can. And like, what are you thinking? What would you like to shoot, and how do you want people to feel about your characters? Really, like, I think the biggest question.
I want people to see. So first, the name Devil Shocker, it sounds dark and like just like sort of like a dark hero, but like my vision for the character is like he's dark when he needs to be. Like, there's never really anything. It's more like a laid back, just like me. So like, I wanted to shoot something that showed like he can fight and like he's tough, but he's also funny. Something like that.
Okay, no, that's cool. So you want something that showcases your martial abilities and with humor. So what is the humor? Like, first of all, like, the main thing that I always think about before I shoot anything are what resources I have around me. Especially from an independent filmmaker perspective, it's like, a lot of times you're working with little to no budget, and it's like, okay, how can I shoot something that's actually cool given the resources I have? So like, what do you have around you right now in Long Beach that you feel can work for your story? If yeah, like, what is there anything? I know you've just recently gotten there, so like, I don't know how well you know the land yet.
I don't really know that much about this part of where I am right now. But sort of thinking like something to do with like a beach or something.
With a beach, okay.
It's like, I feel like that would just show the part of the character that's more laid back than the whole, devil part of the character.
So that's super interesting to me, because do you have anybody that you train with out there that's because I've seen training videos of you doing those amazing wrestling moves. So do you have any training partners that are out there?
I just joined a boxing gym, but as far as the
Okay.
wrestling stuff and capoeira, nothing yet.
Okay. So no one that, because that it's really interesting that you have the beach, and like, to a certain extent, I feel like you know, like I would love for our characters to meet up and do a mission. I think that'd be awesome. But if I needed to be a guy taking a hit, I can take hits, you know. So if you wanted to do something on a beach, you know, where somebody like, you know, took a hit, I have no problem being that person taking the hit and just kind of, you know, maybe I'll wear an outfit and not show my face. So I, you know, I could always do that. But I mean, I'm really interested in. Okay, so you just joined a boxing gym. So are there people that you would consider like cast members for your episode? Like, are there other characters that you have in mind in the Devil Shocker world that are people, you know, accessible to you right now that would essentially be potential characters that would appear in this episode?
As far as the other heroes, not really other heroes, but like I was just thinking of like something like how you always see like somebody robbing somebody and then they call the app and then I show up. And it's like,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to, I can't think of like a specific character for that, but like just how that character would be.
You're saying the person getting robbed.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anybody in your immediate like household, etc., that that would be someone that you would cast as the person getting robbed, potentially using the app?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. All right, so because and there'll be. I'm saying this because I'm not really locked into any particular outcome for this shoot, other than it getting done and it being what you want it to be. So like I say that to essentially, you know, as a preface to me saying, hey, look, like this is like we want to shoot something with you, like, you know, like something official with you together. Like I want to do that. I think the whole team wants to do that. Everyone loves Devil Shocker, loves just the energy you brought. So whether that's right now for this episode or it's for something, you know, maybe coming up this summer, like I'm one way or another, we're going to do that. So if when it comes to shooting something small that just gets you into shooting something that gets you, regardless of scale, into like your own episode with your own story to showcase your personality, that to me is the most important thing. And I shoot stuff on my phone all the time. You know, like I really am, outside of like being a character in JFH, like out of character, like I'm very much the first user of what we're doing with Real World. You know, like Real World is the production company that's making JFH, etc. You know, like I'm like, hey, how do I think in my character story, you know, anywhere I go? So how do I switch that on and say, oh, you know, this would be really cool for an episode in JFH if I just shot this. And then I pull out my phone and I shoot it. So, you know, there's only so much time in a day, so I haven't been able to cut a lot of that stuff yet, but it's going to happen. But what I'm getting at is that if you have like I think the most valuable thing is, as much as I would love for you to come up to Hollywood and us shoot something here, I think that there would be a lot of value if you shot something just in your surrounding neighborhood to start, and that we workshop that, you know, like so that you can show up to, so that you know how you want people to feel. I think that's like the content. You want to know how you want to feel as the character and as a person going into it, and then you want to know how you want other people to feel when they watch it. So if we can distill those two things, and I think that you generally want people to know that you want them to be excited. It sounds like you want them to be excited by your martial ability and by the scenario or the challenge that you're presented with. And you want them to laugh and think it's funny because of how you act, of how you handle that challenge. It's not just the action, it's just about how you deliver the action. So am I accurate? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think then it really comes down to who, if you have the person that's getting robbed, do you have a person that's doing the robbery?
Nah, not yet. I
Okay.
can think of
Is
somebody.
is there somebody that you would be able to find in your household?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Okay. And so the next question is there a place, because safety is always super high priority, and it's high priority for multiple reasons. One, we don't want anybody getting in trouble making, a JFH episode, because it causes problems for them and probably would cause problems for us. So, but two, like if, I'm sure this as a martial artist, especially like with you doing your wrestling work. But if it's not repeatable, if it's not safe, it's not repeatable. And if it's not repeatable, you can't do multiple takes. You can't really shoot it. So it's like I'm wondering, like, whoever would get robbed, is there somebody that, like, what kind of move, if that person is not a martial artist, what kind of move, and maybe the thing to do is potentially, if they're not a martial artist, to use that to your advantage. Because if they don't necessarily know how to respond to you as a martial artist, what kind of character are you, especially if you're doing it on a beach, for example. Like I always, the thing I love about Jackie Chan is that, he messes up. Like, his character is always kind of like figuring it out as he goes. And, it just so happens that Jackie Chan, out of character, is like a super high level master, so that he can make it look like he's making mistakes and then still make it look smooth and wonderful. So I think it might be an interesting opportunity, if you don't have somebody or can't find somebody that's let's say from like a martial background, to be able to showcase yourself, maybe attempting to do moves and mess up, but still getting the bad guy, and still getting the stolen object back, but doing it in your own funny way, like, but being able to showcase how talented your action prowess is. So I mean, that these are just me generally thinking around what you might have. But what are your thoughts?
A lot of, just like, even when I'm wrestling, I get inspired by Jackie Chan, just because I love that whenever he throws a punch, he like shakes his hand because it hurts. Like, he gets hurt while he fights. Like, it's realistic, but it's also funny. So I like doing stuff like that. And I was thinking of putting some stuff, like, I didn't want it to be a super long fight, but I wanted it to be long enough to where you get what type of character it is just by looking at how he fights. But also, you can see how skilled he is. You can see how funny he is, how human he is. And like, the idea was like more starting off with the capoeira and like sort of messing it up a little bit and like accidentally doing a kick that knocks him out, or like or like throwing a Superman punch and it hurts my hand, but then the person that I saved comes by to get what I stole, and or what I got back, and they're just acting like, oh no, it didn't hurt. Let me pick this up real quick. Here, take it back. Like, something like that.
Dude, I was just telling one of our partners a story, and this I was telling a story about, I just finished a training session, and one of my buddies, my old training partners, like just coming out of high school, these guys would get into fights a lot. And one of the funniest stories that I remember was them getting into, it was like two crews, and like, one guy had beef with another guy, and my buddy flipped out. It was actually his brother flipped out, and he's like, oh, you want to fight? You want to fight right now? And this is in New York, it's on concrete. So he drops into a full split. He's like, all right, let me just warm up, and he starts warming up in front of like the entire other crew. And then the guys back off, and they're like, you know what? Like, they see him stretching in the middle of the street. They're like, you know what? Let's just forget about it. But like, I think that's super funny, because, when I think about what's possible with your story and all of the challenges, all the limitations that you might experience or we might experience in coming up with this idea and executing it are actually opportunities for us to shoot something really unique. So when it comes to, you know, you potentially working with somebody who may not have any martial background, who may not be able to feign a reaction to a punch or anything like that, what happens if you shot a scene where somebody gets, you know, something stolen, they call the app, you show up, chase the bad guy, and stop the bad guy, and potentially you don't even need to touch him. You might even be like in front of him. You stop him, and then all of a sudden you start showcasing your martial ability, you know. And because I've seen you do your flips and stuff like that, and like just doing a little of the capoeira, doing your midair flip, like stretching, kind of getting ready to knock the guy out. And maybe he just maybe he makes a different decision and just runs back and hands the stuff, you know, back to the person he stole it from, you know, and maybe he starts to run or so. And these are just me brainstorming, but essentially like you doing stuff, and it could be you missing, you know, it could be you getting ready and missing, and he doesn't realize you're missing, but you're just kind of like, you know, it could be some sort of like war dance, you know, that you kind of run the guy back to where he stole it from, and then it just, you know, he just runs off and everything is done, and like you give a big smile and it's Devil Shocker, you know.
I don't know why that reminded me of that character on Martin. I don't remember what his name was, but like that, where Martin Lawrence would dress up like in a karate gi, in that red karate gi, and this
Oh,
that old dude. I forget his name, but it reminded me of that.
I mean, I think that could be funny. I'm just wondering, like how does that, like what I just want to make sure that whatever we talk about here is something that really resonates with you and resonates with the core of the character.
Like something like that. Yeah, I like something like that, but like I want this to be comedic, and I feel like that would be perfect. But at the same time, I do want to get like a little bit of action in.
Yeah.
Like that.
So
like doing
what?
Something.
Yeah, what is action to you? What? How would you define that those moments?
I'd say maybe just getting like one good hit in, like on accident or something like that. Like he'll be like acting like he's gonna do a bunch of stuff, like doing a bunch of kicks, just like acting like he's kicking near the guy's head, but then accidentally kicks him. He's like, oh, looks around, just picks up the bag, takes it back, just something like.
So you know what's really funny about that is that if let me know if this is too much. If the guy gets scared by you doing all the stuff that you're doing, and then surrenders, and then you're not satisfied with him surrendering, and you're like, that's right, because it could have been so much worse, and you keep on showing him other moves, and then you accidentally knock him out, and then you're like, I'm sorry, and you just take it. Like that to me is, you know, that does a lot of
perfect.
Like, oh no, you don't get off that easy. Like,
so something like that would be perfect. Yeah.
So what is? Have you shot stuff before? Like anything in particular, like from a filmmaking standpoint?
I've shot some stuff, like small stuff.
Okay.
Like a long time ago, though.
Okay, so what kind of support? Because you know, like I want to be as helpful as possible in making this like essentially as easy as possible for you to just get your people together and shoot something. So normally, what goes into the process of, you know, the pre-production process from a director standpoint, because I would assume that you would be the one who's calling the shots on set. You know, like set meaning the beach. The shots meaning that, like, hey, you pulled out your phone and you're shooting something like on the beach. That being said, you know, there's a certain level of like organization that you would want to have, like, to show up to that place. And we are the app that we currently have and that we're expanding. You know, over time is going to make it really easy for people to shoot scenes. And until those functionalities are available in the app, I'm doing my best to be a resource to make it super easy for people, because we want it to be super easy. So that being said, Are you familiar with writing a shot list?
No.
Okay. So a shot list is essentially knowing it's a list of the shots that you want to get so that you can cut something together. Are you familiar? Have you edited before?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you be comfortable editing this, or do you need support there?
I feel like I might need support because I haven't edited something in a couple of years.
Okay. So I'll say this, that like, if you shoot this, if you want to cut it, like please, that's amazing. If you want either help or you want me to cut it, I will do that. So as long as you can get the footage, I'm totally down to cut it up. I think it'll be super dope, and I really just think that it's a matter of, so a shot list. A shot list would be written from a script. So have you written or do you write? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So to me, a key next step would be like you writing, like, and have you ever written a script before, or just stories, or what are you writing? Like the kind of stuff that you.
More stories.
Okay. So I'd say this, that if you wrote a short story, even if it's a paragraph of what you want to happen, and it sounds like to me, it's like, this is what the story sounds like in terms of like what happens is person on the beach, someone comes to steal it, the thing is stolen. They use app, cut to Devil Shocker seeing it because he's on the beach. He's the closest hero around. He chases the person down. Or he sees it. It might be in his point of view. He sees it and he runs right after, and then the whole scene of you stopping the guy, showing off your moves happens. Maybe he surrenders. Then you knock him out, and you're like, uh-oh, and then you like take the stuff back to the person. So like that's essentially like a sequence of events from what I've gathered of what could potentially be the story. But if you wrote a short story and just sent it to me, I could write it into a script format and send it back to you for approval. And if that scene feels like the scene you want to see, then what I can do is then break that down into a shot list, send that back to you. And essentially that would be what you go and shoot on the beach. You'd be like, oh, okay. So I need these 3 shots and these like 4 shots, and each one of these locations that I have on the beach, which is essentially everything will be shot on the beach, but scene 1 might be the person who gets the thing stolen from them, and scene 2 might be you in your area of the beach getting the notification, and then scene 3 would be you and the robber meeting in that 3rd area of the beach. And then the rest of the sequence, goes from there. So if you just write like a little short story, and when I say short story, it does not have to be a short story. I mean, like if you write a paragraph describing what you want to see, adding whatever you want to add, or taking away anything you want to take away from this conversation, then I'm happy to crank that into a script the second I get it. Once I get your approval on that, we could have something up by, this could all get done in this week in terms of like the cranking out of a script and a shot list, so that you just have everything you need to go and shoot something. And like the only thing I'd say that if you are planning on doing any impact, especially with somebody who's never done, I don't want to say impact. If you're planning to do an action shot with somebody who's never done action before, just as a general rule of thumb, any strike that's going to come to, let's say, their head or their face, that you want to keep like about 6 inches to a foot in front of them, and you just kind of cheat to have the camera, like just kind of cheat to have the camera not knock the person, because we can always add sound effects, and obviously you don't want to actually hit them in the face. So it's essentially a 6 foot to 3. I mean, I'm sure you've done that in your wrestling. Because you did pro wrestling stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. Yeah. Yeah, brother. So I mean, like, is there anything that you want to like, you know, talk about that we didn't cover?
Nah, everything. Pretty much got everything. Yeah.
Okay, man. I mean, dude, like we, you know, this is it means a lot that you've been. It means a lot that your Instagram handle is Devil Shocker JFH. You know, that's a big deal of like for me personally. And you know, like I really, you know, I gratitude for you know you um you know for you coming to the table with that type of team mentality. And like, you know, what we're doing really is it's a multi-year plan. You know, like we're really putting together a show. We already have an entire season of like the show shot. And we're literally just finished some stuff like an hour ago. Actually, no, it's happening right now. It's not an hour ago. It's being finished right now because we're figuring out next year. And being able to travel around and like, you know, to actually produce the show in different places in the country with our film crew, with our community that we've been building for the last few years. So like, so this is really a multi-year plan, and it means a lot to have you at the foundation of what we're doing, man. So, you know, just much love and respect for that. And, you know, like I said, I want to be as accessible as possible and helpful as possible to, you know, bring in Devil Shocker out to the world, man.
Thank you, son. Thank you.
No, thank you. So I'll await your. You could either email it to me or you can text it. You know, message it to me in IG or on your account should be. I'm pretty sure it's active. Have you been on the app yet? The JFH app?
Nah.
Okay, dude, I'm super interested in your thoughts of Justice for Hire .app. So you've never logged in yet?
No.
This is amazing. So we have an app now, and that we've been talking about for a while. It exists, and please log in if you need any help logging in, because you're a returning hero. You already have a hero profile on there. So if you go in and check it out, and I think the password for returning heroes is JFH 2020 ! All lowercase. But you just use your hero name, and matter of fact, I'm going to connect you and Andra, our CTO, on IG, and she'll give you the exact login. But go in there and just check it out and see what's happening, because we've had a bunch of people join, and we're going to be centralizing the entire community on the app as the weeks go on. But you know, like, yeah, I mean, I definitely let's get this done, and we'll figure out how to do something else together and expand upon it. And since you train and I train, we should probably do something that's a little bit more dynamic. So, but let's do this first. Send me what you can, and I'll. Awesome, brother. Okay, man. So I'll look forward to it in the coming days. And I'm sending you much love, man. Thank you so much again for being on this.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Peace, brother. Thanks again.
See.